And a good evening. Welcome out to Little Woodrow. It's time to talk Lamar University football. Hi, everybody. Harold Mann along with Coach Pete Rossomando. We're out here each and every Wednesday night during the duration of the football season. Coach, we turn over a calendar, 2024. Are we ready to go on Saturday?
We better be. It's coming.
A little bit here about the Cardinals and what we could look for in 2024.
Well, I mean, we got a lot of familiar faces, along with some new ones dotting those starting lineups. But I think for the most part, you're going to recognize the names, and hopefully the bodies will look a little bit different. With a year of training and ready to go, and I certainly can see the growth in our players and our staff. And we only lost one coach from the staff, which at this level is pretty good, and we got a lot of continuity. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be better, but I could see a difference in the way our guys approach practice every day. It's been fun to be around them.
Let's talk about some of the key guys. You've got so many guys mentioned on the preseason team, total of 12, but that's just on paper.
Yeah.
They got to get the job done.
They do. And, obviously I think the place where we're going to be way better is our defensive line. I think those guys they've really grown up, and we played a lot of freshmen last year, so I think those guys are going to really come into their own and play well. And same with our offensive line. We played a lot of new guys with Knox Boyd and Eli Ripley and some guys like that. And it's good to see them guys in the program, comfortable now. They can lead. They're great leadership roles. It's been fun to watch those guys. And just, old hat, right? Kalen Griffin, great to have him back. He's captain. He's one of those guys that's really done a tremendous job redefining his body and the way he goes about his business, and really proud of him and some of those guys in that backfield. It's going to be exciting to watch those guys play.
You mentioned that talking about Kalen, I loved watching him play last year. You mentioned he's improved, seemed to be faster, and just worked really hard in the offseason.
Well, he's leaned up. He was about 215. He's probably more like 205, 210 right now, and he's in great physical condition. He practices really, really hard, which he didn't do a year ago because he wasn't in great condition. And he's in great shape. He's feeling good, and more importantly, he's taken that next step just as a football player and growing in the sport.
Got those blockers up front, and I see your offensive line. They've had a heck of an off-season in weight training. Yeah. They've gotten bigger, and I'm sure they've gotten stronger.
They have, and I think we've set a lot of records in that group in the weight room, but it doesn't matter because that's just in the weight room. They got to do it on the field, and they've really done that. And I think the biggest credit to what we do in our performance room with Coach Walker is our guys, all 5 of our offensive linemen practiced every day in preseason. Didn't miss a day. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way they're trained and the way they're conditioned and really just how tough they are. And great group of guys. We really got 8 guys right now we feel really good about playing in the game this weekend. So really fired up about those guys and watching them go. As I'm an offensive line guy, and it's fun to watch that group come together since we've been here.
Any true freshmen going to make an impact at all this year?
I think Britt Simmons, in the receiver corps, which is, as you know, a talented group, but Britt's really done a really good job for us throughout preseason, and he's one of those guys that's like a sponge. You talk to him, you can tell he's listening to you intently, taking coaching and bringing it out to the field. C.J. Miller's another guy that's played a lot, throughout the course of preseason. I think he's going to be out there factoring in. I think there's going to be, probably 4 or 5 other guys throughout the course of the season that are going to be guys that get on the field and play well for it. It's a talented freshman class. I brought those guys up and talked to them and said, the one thing I know is we didn't make any mistakes, and I feel really good about that group.
Continue to talk about the offense. A lot of receivers. You're deep at receiver, and one of them is a local guy, Andre Dennis, out of Beaumont Westbrook High School, preseason first team All-Southland Conference. He's just one of many because you're deep.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it all starts with Savon. He's a veteran. He's been playing football 7 years now. So, and he's a great
and he
leader.
wears number 7. Why not?
He wears number 7. He's a great leader. He's so mature. He's had a great off season, great preseason. It's every day is a blessing to work with a guy like him. And then, obviously Andre's had a great off season and a good preseason camp. And Isaiah Jones, who's a big target that can jump, all around athlete, played quarterback in high school, tough kid, blocks, love everything about him. And then our Nederland guy, Kenan Fusler, who is really, you'll see a big difference in him and the way he plays compared to the way he played last year. Much faster, he's bigger, he's more physical, he's going to be able to take some of the hits that he usually takes in the slot.
And before we get our first break in, let's talk about your quarterback play with Robert and Jacoby. Just talk about that competition. It was Robert's job all year long, and I imagine he'll be under center, start things off on Saturday.
Yeah, And our guys know this. Every day is a competition. And, Robert always took the first team reps because I think he earned it by playing 11 games for us last year and getting us to a winning season. And, Gino just continued to work and compete every single day. I think, Rob did he just continued to play well and take us to the next level as an offense. And we operate really well with him in there. And not that we don't with Gino, because we do, but I think it gives us two really good options, but, Rob's really cemented himself right now as the leader. I mean, the team voted him captain. It's been, that's always a great sign that your quarterback's the captain.
Now, who else is named captain?
So Eli Ripley, our center, Kalen Griffin and Robert on offense, and Jalen Freeman, who's a second-year captain on defense, Ramon Stevens, and Caleb Williams.
We're talking Lamar University football. Going to get our first break in. We invite you to come out and see us each and every Wednesday. It's the Pete Rossomando Show on News Talk 560 KLVI. News Talk 560 KLVI, Harold Mann along with Coach Pete Rossomando. As we're talking Lamar University football, Cardinals getting ready to open the 2024 season at the 7 o'clock kickoff on Saturday from Texas State. Have you ever been to San Marcos, Texas?
I have. Actually, we did a camp there this past summer at San Marcos High. So I've been there. It's a great town, and it'll be fun to go out there and play a game.
Again, at the 7 o'clock kickoff. We talked about the offense during our first segment. Let's talk about defense. Of course, Kristen Pugh. Kristen Pugh, one of the guys back there. And I had the opportunity to talk to Kristen and Andre during media day a little over a week ago. And it's pretty funny because they both played middle school football together. They played high school football together. And they both were number one. I asked Andre, who's the better number one? That quick, just that quick, he says.
Either one of them, well, they'll answer pretty quickly. Yeah,
and he goes, why are you asking me that question? It's the guy you have the mic in front of right now. But, no
lack of confidence in those two, for sure.
You've got to like that because there's cockiness, and you got to like that in some kids, and, confident, things along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, you put the work in, you got to have confidence in your ability, and I think both of those guys have done that. And, Kristen has really built his body up. He was 170 pounds when we got there. He's almost 190 pounds, playing safety. Sometimes you watch him and Andre play, and it just looks so effortless, and it's very impressive. Both of them super smart football players, very intuitive, both tough, physical guys. Obviously, we love those guys from the 409, and those guys certainly represent really, really well.
Some other guys on defense that we're going to notice this year.
Well, I mean, Caleb obviously is a preseason all-conference player, was an all-conference player last year. I think Jamin Jackson's had a great offseason. Obviously, Caleb. Obviously Jalen Freeman, great leader for us, but also really done a great job. A guy named Coda Kennedy, Jacksonville, his dad's, that Kennedy name up in Jacksonville, Texas is famous up there. And
just like the McGowns.
He's had an amazing off season, and he's had a great preseason camp. So it's going to be fun to watch him run around out there and play. And, we have actually one of our outside linebackers is, Ronnie Hamrick is a Texas State transfer, so he's fired up for this one. And I think he'll play well. He's been a great addition to our ball club. And, I think some of those younger defensive ends that played last year and got some reps, and Keytron Simpson and Royce Malalis, those guys have really taken the next step as defensive linemen. And got a transfer in here from Sela, defensive lineman, who we think, I think Javon Sanchez is going to be amazing. He's going to be an amazing player. He's a great young man. We love having him as a part of our program, and Houston guy, and we're just fired up to have him, and I think he's going to have a good season.
And what's promising, you look up and down your depth chart, you don't see a whole lot of seniors on there, so you're still a young program developing.
Yeah,
you do have a handful of seniors, right?
Yeah, we got a good senior class. We did our senior barbecue on Saturday, and those guys had a chance to get up there and speak. And although you're excited to hear them speak and really excited to see them play this year, you're a little like, wow. We got to replace those guys.
Yeah,
we better get out recruiting. So, we've obviously all been recruiting the whole time, but yeah, we got some talent in that senior class and some great leadership, and we're excited to watch them go this year.
Speaking of recruiting, I think it was yesterday came out the FBS and FCS committees that come out with a new transfer portal time period. Mm-hmm. Do you like that?
I've learned to adjust to anything they're going to do, because that's kind of the way you got to do it. The NIL, the transfer portal, you got to take it with a grain of salt, and you got to learn to morph your program so something like that helps you instead of hurt you. And whatever they tell us to do, we're going to do. And I think one thing we learned from having 2 transfer portal windows is roster management is virtually impossible. It's impossible if you're going to let guys transfer in 2 windows. But if that's the case, if it stays that way, then we'll work in it, and that's just the way it'll be.
It's the way of life in college athletics, not only football, all sports. That transfer portal.
It is, and again, I'm not adverse to the transfer portal. I think there's certainly a place for it. There's kids go to places that just don't fit. Kids go to places where they don't get along with the coaches, or the coaches change, and they should have the opportunity to move. I really believe that.
I think especially during a coaching change, they should. Yeah. Now, back in the, and I always hate to use it, back in the day, but at one time, as you're well aware of, Coach, if you transferred, you had to sit out a year. That's not necessarily.
If you transferred lateral or up, you had to sit out. Now you can transfer anywhere, and I think that's a good rule. I really do. The other way around was I thought it was a little bit of Big Brother, holding somebody down. There's going to be instances where guys, it's in their best interest, mental health or whatever, to move. And I think they should have that opportunity one time to do it.
Do you see, and I'm going to use a baseball analogy here, do you see maybe the FCS at some point being like a minor league for an FBS school?
Yeah, I think there's going to be some of that, of course, and I hope we become one of them, because I feel like we're recruiting at a high level, and when you do recruit at a high level, you're going to get good players that show up and play well, and sometimes those guys are going to get different opportunities. And I wish there was a fact where no one gets recruited off of people's roster. The kids got to go in the portal, but unfortunately that's not the way it is. There's coaches and handlers and all kinds of personnel that are not coaches and in programs that are reaching out to these kids on Twitter or their parents and recruiting them before they even go in a transfer portal. And that is unfortunately what we've come to in college football.
Now, can you do that?
No, but it doesn't. No one's checking it.
But it's hard to police.
No one's checking it. It doesn't matter.
You got a recruiting class in. Talk about your newcomers and maybe some local talent too. And that's what I like. You look up and down your roster, not only the newbies, but some veteran local kids.
Yeah, I'm going to say that I'm going to start with the big guys, because I love those guys. But Graydon Spencer from Lumberton, everything as advertised. Great, hardworking kid, strong at the point of attack. He's going to be a guy that really helps us win football games here. And then Andre Sauls out of Temple, Texas, is an offensive lineman that he's right close to the squat record as a freshman.
Really?
Yeah, he's impressive, and he's a great young man, and we're really pleased and blessed to have him. And I think those guys are going to give us a chance up front to help us win a lot of football games. But we got a guy from Tennessee, Jackson Bandy. He's done a great job. There's another middle linebacker from Lumberton who's done a really good job. It's my son.
I was going to ask you, what's that been like? I know when you announced the recruitment, you talked about, well, you do the offensive line. You're not his direct position coach. But what's that like? First off, as a dad, you love your kid playing college football. Your dad who's college football plays for you. What's that like?
It's good. Yeah, it's been great. I mean, he asks a lot of questions, and he's intuitive. He's a really good football player. He's he's one of those guys that shows up to practice every day, works hard. He's got a great position coach in Daryl Deline, and Daryl does a great job with him. And Daryl handles the whole thing. And I really, I'm obviously involved with him like I am with every other player as far as making sure that we get good evaluations. We're putting him in a position to succeed, but. It's just good being around him. I get to see him every day. We check in. He's always popping up in my office, stealing my waters out of my fridge. But it's great to have him up there.
How often can a kid go to a head coach and say, "Hey, Dad, let me borrow $20"?
He does it. He calls me coach.
And that's cool because he makes that separation on campus.
I didn't ask him to do that, but that's the way he wants to do it. And he doesn't want any special treatment. As a matter of fact, he gets way less special treatment than anybody else. So,
but by the way, your wife was staring at you the entire time you answered that question.
She knows. Trust me. I usually don't take questions from parents, but I have no choice when I go home.
There you go. All right. Hey, going to get another break in. We are at Little Woodrow's talking Lamar University football. The Pete Rossomando Show on News Talk 560 KLVI. News Talk 560 KLVI back out at Little Woodrow's. Harold Mann along with Coach Pete Rossomando talking Lamar University football. Obviously, had some scrimmages along the way. How those goes for you?
Well, I think the good news is there was some give and take. I think the first one was very even, offense versus defense. Second one, the offense came out and played, really well, and the defense played well in the second half of that scrimmage. And then this last one, I think the defense kind of had the upper hand. So with 3 turnovers, so I think those were very even. I always tell our team, as a head coach, you're always mad coming out of those things because one side always got the best of the other. Mm-hmm. And you'd hope that it would be give and take, and that's what you want. But as a head coach, you're always looking to get things better. So those are some tough days for me.
Now, when you divided up the teams, was it 1s against 2, or did you mix them all together?
No, we go 1s versus 1s to start, in the first scrimmage and second scrimmage. And the third scrimmage is 1s versus 2s. And you're really getting a look more at, like, Texas State and the things you're going to see when you play them.
Now, and that will be Saturday at 7 when the Cardinals line up against the Bobcats at Texas State in San Marcos. A very good Group 5 ball club.
Yeah, they're good and well coached, and I know GJ. Him and I think we're pretty friendly, and got a lot of respect for what he's done at 2 places he's been, and I think he does it with class. And I'm excited to go play because I think when you play these games, you want to play good people because it tests who you are and what the fabric of your team is going to be like, and it's going to be a great challenge for us. But I think our guys are excited. They're certainly not intimidated by anybody, and they're going to go out and play hard and have some fun doing it in front of a big crowd. And, those are rewards for those guys.
And it looks great on a schedule when you play Texas A&M, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Texas Tech. Those are some Power 5s the Cardinals have lined up against and bringing football back. But I think it's I don't know how you feel about the scheduling. Playing a Group 5 on the FBS level is more competitive for you.
I don't know that that's going to be true. We'll find out this weekend. But I think that Texas State beat the brakes off of Baylor last year in the first game. So I'm not sure that I'd rather play Baylor maybe than than play Texas State right now. But I always tell people, listen, we didn't sign up. We play the people that are on our schedule. That's just the way it is. Jeff and I make all those decisions together on who we play. So, this one was scheduled long before I got here, but I'm not looking back and wanting to change it. Let's go play. Let's have some fun, and let's see if we can't get them to the fourth quarter.
And it's really not that far, and you do have some Lamar alum in the San Antonio area, in the Austin area, they could come down to San Marcos. Our Lamar fans here could make a weekend out of it. It's Labor Day weekend, and it's also a good opportunity where you're not getting on a plane flying somewhere to play. It's reachable and doable for our fans.
It's great for our fans, our players' parents, who most of our players are from Texas, and they get a chance to drive to a game to see our guys play. I think those things are really critical when you're building a program, is to play games that your parents can get to. Instant fans, instant opportunity to get people together, and I think playing a team in the state of Texas in our system, which is always great, and playing against people that you just respect. And again, I respect GJ and his staff. I know a few guys on the staff. Coach Pivotal, who's their linebacker coach, who's
came over
409
State
guy,
he's a Southeast Texas guy. Yeah,
he's they're good friends, and just always excited to play guys like that, because it really tests who you are as a football program. It really does.
Now, I know this doesn't impact you at all, but their athletic director, Donnie Coryell's a Beaumont Westport guy, former Lamar basketball player.
Yeah.
I emailed him today, and he says it's Don now. So now, when you played basketball, you're Donnie Coryell. And he even worked at Lamar at one time. So
he did.
That's a good, nice little sidebar story there with Texas State, and I know what answer you're going to give me, because it's a fact. You're only worried about, or concerned, I'm not worried, more concerned and preparing for Texas State. But a week from Saturday, the home opener against Mississippi Valley State, and I know we'll talk about that next Wednesday, but you got to be excited for that home opener as well.
Yeah, when you play at home for the first time, there's really not much to be said. Your guys are going to be ready to go and fired up, and I think after what happened last year in the home opener, our guys will be really, really fired up to get that thing right. So we got to take care of business this week and play Texas State, and we'll worry about that one on Sunday. And
getting students to come out again, we'll talk more about that next week. When you look at Texas State on their offense, what are we going to be looking at?
They're a high-tempo offense, very similar to what you saw when they played at UIW. It's the same offensive coordinator. They have an outstanding quarterback. Played at
They have a lot of UIW transfers, and that goes with it.
They do. I think they have 7 guys on offense that are playing that transferred from UIW, and again, they play fast. They're going to try to get you with speed and scheme, as far as how they snap the ball, and they're going to be physical ball club. Everybody thinks, their speed, the high tempo, they're going to run the football. They got a back who came from Houston Christian, who played against Lamar, so a lot of our guys are familiar with him. It's going to be a high-powered offense that we're going to have to slow down and more importantly, tackle in the open field. That's going to be the key to the game. If we can tackle in the open field, we'll have a chance. If we don't, it's going to be a long evening.
On their defensive side, they're pretty big.
Yeah, they got some size. I think we played ULM, and really, to be honest with you, Idaho was big up front, on the defensive line. And I think that, they got – the thing that you worry about them is their experience in the secondary. Their corners are both corners are back, both safeties are back, their nickel's back. They lost 2 inside linebackers who Zero was there. He was the spirit of their defense last year. And they lost him, but they'll have to replace him. And they got some really good players that they've brought in, actually one from ULM. So I think they're going to have some players that can give us some problems. But, again, I feel good, experienced offensive line that we have coming back, guys that are fun, have fun working together. And, they're going to give their best effort. I know that for sure. And they're going to communicate, and they're going to do some really good things. So they got a really good defense, but I think our guys they're going to be fired up and ready to go.
Talking with Coach Pete Rossomando, Lamar football, and going back to last year, 6-5. What a turnaround for this football program. Let's talk about the 5 losses. ULM, an FBS school at third place that you had your chances to win. Your other losses: South Dakota, FCS playoffs; UIW, FCS playoffs; Idaho, FCS playoffs; and then UIW, who probably should have gotten a bid.
Yeah. But listen, you got to win those games. I mean, those are the games you need to win to get your program to the next level, and that's that's got to be the case this year. I mean, if we want to do anything in FCS, we have to take care of business when we get a chance to play good teams, because that's the only way you're going to get the Southland Conference back on top of FCS, and that's the only way you're going to get to the playoffs, is to play well in those games against good people. And we have plenty of them on our schedule this year. It starts this week with Texas State. I know that's not FCS, but it doesn't matter. You got to play them. They're number one on your schedule.
Can you learn anything from our guys? And we do. We got a bunch of guys back from last year. Can they learn anything from those losses?
I don't think kids learn from losses like adults do.
Right.
And it's great because they're resilient. They just snap back and they're ready to go the next week, which is great. I think that's what you want your guys to think. 1-0 each week. Don't worry about what happened last week. We'll correct those things and get ready to go. And I think our guys feel like that. And we learn from every failure we have. So I think those are opportunities for us to learn and grow. And our guys have taken that throughout preseason camp. And I think that's why it's been so much more enjoyable this year than it was a year ago.
About the coaching staff, all back from last year, any changes, any adjustments at all?
Not really. Daryl Deline, who was our linebacker coach, special teams coordinator, stepped up to become the full-time special teams coordinator. And we hired Morgan Ford, who was a graduate assistant here, I believe 2 years ago, and was in the XFL. And we brought him back home. He's a Port Arthur guy, so he's actually coaching our outside linebackers, doing a great job. And the rest of the guys have all been with me since last year, and a lot of them were with me before. And they do a really good job of being intense and detailed and getting our guys ready to go.
Remind us of your coordinators.
Will Fleming.
Yep.
Dad's a longtime friend and coach, and Will was coaching at Valparaiso at the time we brought him down here, and coaches our quarterbacks, and I think he's done a great job developing that room and really transforming what we do in there, and offensively he's, him and I are in the same wavelength, and we think alike in a lot of ways, but he also thinks outside the box, which allows me to grow as a coach. And not that I don't make the decisions, but I have a say in what we do, and he's really good at bouncing ideas and getting things right. And the one thing he does well is he utilizes our personnel, and that's most important. And Drew Chris is our defensive coordinator, came to me from Boston College and coaches our corners, and he's been with me before as defensive coordinator. Does a really good job of keeping us in ball games.
Going to get another break in. Again, we are at Little Woodrow's here in the Colonnade Shopping Center near Dowling and Phelan. Invited to come on and see us. We're out here every Wednesday on News Talk 560 KLVI. News Talk 560 KLVI, Harold Mann along with Lamar football coach Pete Rossomando. We are out here at Little Woodrow's. We're here each and every Wednesday during the duration of the football season, 7 o'clock. Always invite you to come out and join us. Coach, nice crowd out here tonight. Fans are excited about the start of the season.
Great to see him out here.
Let's talk a little more about the upcoming season, the Southland Conference, and Lamar, the Cardinals picked fourth in preseason play with the Cardinals, and I know you don't look a lot into that, but does this non-conference schedule, you've got a good one, get you ready for conference play?
Yeah, I think so. I think you got to play good people, and the conference is going to be a juggernaut to get through, and starts with SFA, a new founding member coming back into the Southland, but it's definitely going to get us ready.
I'm not sure if Matt Fay of the Enterprise, Roddy over Channel 12, asked you this question on Monday. I want to throw it at you again. This past Saturday, week 0, which I hate that. Did you get a chance to watch any college football?
I did. I watched some. Watched the tail end of the McNeese-Tarleton game, which turned out to be a great game, and really close at the end. They missed a field goal late to tie it. That was fun to watch, and then we watched the Florida State Georgia Tech game, and that was a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Not in the sense that Georgia Tech won, but I just thought Florida State coming off that win with some incredible recruiting, I thought they would be a little bit more explosive. But it's the first game, and a lot of times when you got new players, that first game is hard to judge what you're going to do when you get out there. But I think what you'll see is the most improvement will happen from game 1 to game 2. So let's see how they all those teams bounce back.
And I know both teams had to travel, but they go to Ireland to play. Now, as a player and or as a coach, have you ever coached or played outside the United States?
No, never did. When I was at Charlotte, we had a chance to go to the Bahamas Bowl if we had won the last game, and we were going to go, and we lost the last game, so we never had an opportunity.
That'd have been sweet.
Yeah, that'd have been fun. Down to Bahamas? Yeah, for sure.
Keep those kids in order in the Bahamas. Let's just talk about maybe any rule changes of significance this year.
Well, the two-minute timeout.
The 2-minute timeout.
Which comes into effect for us. Which changes a little bit of your strategy down the stretch, especially if you're in the 4-minute drill where you're trying to kill the clock with a lead. But I think the NFL guys do it, and obviously we're going to have an opportunity to do that. And I think if you're down, it helps you. So I think it helps you keep you in the game.
It's an extra timeout.
It is.
And instead of the college level, and instead of calling the 2-minute warning, and in the NFL they call it the 2-minute warning. And in college, they call it the 2-minute timeout. Now, kickoffs. What you see in the NFL. What's your thoughts of that, and do you ever see that filtering down to college?
I spent 4 years on the NCAA Rules Committee, and the one thing you will notice is college football will eventually follow suit with the NFL at some point. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, they've been trying to get this 2-minute timeout in for the last 5 or 6 years, and they finally got it in. And I think that the kickoff rule will probably trickle down into college football as well. It really all depends on science and the research and to see if it really decreases injuries and all that stuff.
Yeah, is that because players are getting bigger, stronger, and faster than what we've seen in the past? Because there's always been – football's a collision sport. There's always been the contact.
It is, but I don't know. I think it certainly has something to do with the bigger, faster, stronger thing. I just think there's more research. There's more opportunities to take data and see where injuries are happening. And, you want to keep the game safe for the player because no one's coming to watch me run up and down the sideline.
Really?
They're coming to watch Andre Dennis score touchdowns and Caleb Griffith score touchdowns and Caleb Williams sack the quarterback.
Yeah.
They don't care what I'm wearing on the sideline. That's for sure.
You look at Caleb Williams and talk about him. Not all that tall, 5'11", but he brings 290, and he's quick, he's fast, and he's a tough one up front.
Yeah, I would say he's probably more like 305 than 290. That's probably an old stat sheet. But
he's eaten a couple cheeseburgers since then.
Well, I mean, he's a 700-pound squatter.
Wow, that's
and he can bench press the house, and he's everything you want in a person that will marry your daughter someday.
He's also maybe your first guy at the bus too. He looks like a college football player.
Yeah, he's just everything about C. Will is just special, and I'm glad that his peers saw it fit to vote him captain because I felt like, and I don't think it changes the way he approaches it. He's always been a leader. He's always been a guy that says the right thing, and I'm just so proud of where he is right now.
Before we get our final break in, one other quick question when we talk about kickoffs. Do you ever see the onside kick going away? No. Or some type of adjustment to it? Because if you don't have an onside kick and you score late in the ball game, you can't get the ball back.
Well, they have in the UFL, they had that 4th and 14 where if you wanted to try
like on the 25-yard line, something like that.
Right, on the 25-yard line, if you got that's something to talk about. I don't think that's going to come anytime soon, but right now I think it'll stay the same for a little bit.
We are going to get our final break in, get our final thoughts on the upcoming season opener. We're at Little Woodrow's talking Lamar University football. Coach Pete Rossomando on News Talk 560 KLVI. News Talk 560 KLVI, Harold Mann along with Coach Pete Rossomando in our final stretch of the initial Coach Pete Rossomando show of the year. We're going to be out here every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Folks, you need to come out here and enjoy all the fun and the food, the libations,
Yeah.
and everything involved, and get well educated, not by the host, but by Coach Pete Rossomando.
You know a lot too, so you know a lot about our roster.
Yeah, and I'm excited about it. And I'm not just sitting here saying this because I'm sitting by the head coach of Lamar football. I am really excited about the 2024 Lamar football season because of how 2023 wound down. We're going in the final 2 weeks. And now we're talking, and I don't want to harp on the past, but we're talking about a program that had won 3 games the last 2 years combined. And last year, your first year here, we go down to the final 2 weeks with a shot to win conference. and that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's where Lamar should be.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, and I thought that when I met Jeff and Dr. Taylor, and I still feel that way now. We have a great team here that works in athletics and on campus, and we work well together. And there's always some things that you can get better at, and some conflict. But with good people, you can always get through that. And I think we're at that point now. And it all starts at the top with Dr. Taylor, and he's done a great job of setting the bar for everybody, and we got to live up to it. And I feel Lamar should be in the conference championship in every sport because this is a great location. It is you're in the most talent-rich state in the country as far as football goes, and we have really no excuses.
And you talk about all Lamar programs, athletic programs, and that's what I really like. All you coaches cross over, you get along really well. Your kids may be out at a soccer match on a Friday night, volleyball. I know during spring you're out there in baseball. And likewise, those athletes, you see them in the football stands. And I think that's really cool, especially with a university our size and a community-type university. It's good to see each sport supporting one another.
If we don't, who will, right? So
Absolutely.
If we don't support each other, we can't expect for our students to come out. We can't expect fans to buy tickets if we're not supporting each other. And we're all busy, and we all have we can't make every game, but
right.
When we do have an opportunity to go and see our colleagues work, because that's what they're doing, we do it because it's important. And again, everyone's needs are different and for every sport, but the most important thing is that Lamar is supporting Lamar. And we want to continue to do that. And, I got great relationships with all of my colleagues, and I feel good about them. And I know they're building great programs as well. And I had lunch a couple times with Nathan Kuget, our women's soccer coach, because, man, I mean, I want to drink some of that Kool-Aid. I mean, the guy knows how to win championships, and he knows how to build programs, and been really impressed with what he's done, and I appreciate everything he's done for me throughout the offseason.
Something else I think is really neat is former football players come back. They may talk to your kids. There will be a game, and I'm not talking just about from when football was brought back in 2010. I'm talking guys that go back to when football ended in 1989 and before that. They come back and support your program.
Well, we've put a working group together of about seven alums that are working to get more alumni back involved. Joe Persone is leading that. Joe's a local guy, 409, and we get a lot of those guys come, monthly to meet and talk about things we need. The one thing we're going to do, and it's because this gentleman has touched a lot of people in our program, is we're gonna honor John Payton, Coach John Payton, next week at our home opener, and nobody deserves it more than Coach Payton. I've talked to hundreds of alumni that played here, and all of them have. It doesn't matter what color they are, what nationality they are, what religion they are. The one thing they always talk about is Coach John Payton and how much they loved him, respected him, and wanted to play for him. And we're going to honor him and his family. And it just gives me a great opportunity to get our alumni back here to celebrate Coach Payton.
Coach Payton told me a story one time. He says, anybody in my class, I told them I would flunk them if they did not learn the Lamar loyalty song. He goes, every one of them learned it. He goes, little though they know, I couldn't flunk them if they didn't know it. But that was his love for this university.
Yeah, he was everything I hear from the alumni and fans is
great guy.
just what an impact he had on people's lives. And as coaches, that's why we got into this, is to make impacts on young people's lives. And he did that, and he did it for a long period of time, and came back to be the academic advisor when they brought football back, which, I wish I had a chance to meet him. I did meet his wife, who is a wonderful person, and his son Gary, and had a chance to spend an afternoon with them. And it was just, for me, it was just incredible to put a connection together with Coach Payton.
All right, got about 3 minutes to go in this week's program, and let's talk about, here we sit on Wednesday evening, coming up on 8 o'clock. What's the schedule up until 7 o'clock on Saturday?
Well, we got practice in the morning, and we're gonna put our finishing touches on the game plan, and then we get up in the morning on Friday. We practice here. We have a full morning, and then we get on the bus at 1:30, and we head to St. Marcos to beat the Houston traffic. And we're going to get out there, and we're going to have a great Friday night of fellowship, and we're going to get ready to go for Saturday. Saturdays, because it's a night game, we get an opportunity to do a lot of our meetings on Saturday morning.
Will you get a chance to walk through on the stadium at all before you get out there?
No, I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
I think it's still 52 and a third wide. I think it's still 100 yards long. So our guys play on it every day. So I think we're in good shape that way. And we've been working on some things for the crowd noise, because I think it's going to be pretty crowded.
Pretty healthy coming in?
Yeah, I think so. I think our guys are healthy. I think finally you can see in the last 4 or 5 days the speed has improved. We have all that GPS data that tells us that we're faster now than we were 2 weeks ago, and it's great to have those things. And our guys seem to be getting their legs back and understanding the game plan and where we are. So I think that's good, and we're pretty healthy, and that's really – it doesn't matter at this point, right? I mean, the guys that are going to play, and we're going to have guys step up that we didn't think we would need in the first game, and they're going to have to step up and play well.
Any deer in the headlights for those true freshmen playing?
We'll find out.
Well, that's what the upperclassmen guys are for, to take that out. So.
There's nothing like getting out there for the first time. I remember my freshman year playing against Colgate University, and I was on kickoff return. It was the opening kickoff return, man, and I couldn't believe how fast everything was and how big the moment was. So, I tell our guys, man, you got to dial it down. I was probably at a 9 out of 10, and we got to probably be somewhere around 6 when we get on the field at Texas State.
All right, that's going to about do it. Coach Pete Rossomando, thank you so much. We will see you Saturday in San Marcos, and then right back here next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Let's go get them. Coach Pete Rossomando again, the Lamar Cardinals and the Bobcats of Texas State in San Marcos. If you can't make the trip, we want you to make the trip. But if you can't, we'll have all the action for you right here coming up on Saturday evening, 7 o'clock kickoff from San Marcos. And get your tickets for a week from Saturday for the home opener against Mississippi Valley State. That, too, that actually will be a 6 o'clock kickoff.
That's
Coach,
right. Let's pack the P. Let's pack Provo Sumford.
Let's do it. We'll see you Saturday again next week.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank everybody for coming out. It's the Lamar Cardinals and Texas State Bobcats, 7 o'clock here on News Talk 560 KLVI. Get along, bring the iHeartRadio with you, and let's go Cards.